So you want to jump into the world of creating reels, but you're a little bit nervous. Fear not, I actually have a really good solution for you that will help ease you into the process so that you can learn exactly what you need to do so that you're comfortable while creating reels. So this is actually some advice I gave on Facebook not too long ago, and I wanted to extend this to you as well. If you're somebody who's nervous on camera, this is going to be essential for easing yourself into it and making sure you understand what it is, how it works, and how you're most comfortable creating this content. So let's back up for just a second. When it comes to reels, there are a couple of different kinds of reels, and I've got lots of tutorials on how to make these. I'll link the playlist down below. But you have to understand there are different ways of making reels. It is not just dancing, it's not just lip syncing. Reels can be everything from speaking direct to camera to showing B-roll and doing a voiceover, or text to speech, which is a new feature here on Instagram. And you can do things like lip syncing to different words or different lines from movies and TV shows or things that other people said, or you can dance, you can move around to songs, you can do all sorts of things. It comes down to what you're comfortable doing, you don't have to do it all, and what your audience responds to, which means you might have to do a little bit of testing. But before we get there, I don't want you to panic, because this is actually easy to work yourself into. Now, a lot of people jump into this with the mindset of I have to create it, it has to be really good, and then I have to put it out there and risk being out there, and if it fails, I'm a life failure, and if it succeeds, I then have to keep this up. This is not a good mindset, and this is not going to help you. So let's talk about how you can do this in a gentle way so that you're ready to jump out into the world. Now here's the deal. When it comes to reels, instead of jumping right into it and creating the world's most viral, amazing reel ever, and if you don't, you just don't do it, we're actually going to do a little bit of practicing. So for the next 2 weeks, you're going to be creating reels, but you're not putting these out into the world. This is your freedom. This is your break. This is where you get to try things and see what works for you. So this is the mindset I want you to walk into this with. Instead of creating to put out in the world, you're creating to practice, to see what works best for you, to see what translates well, and to learn the techniques to create a good and valuable reel. So for 2 weeks, every single day, I want you to be creating 2 to 3 reels per day. These don't have to be great because they're not going out in the world. You're just practicing. Now at this point, I want you to decide what type of reels you want to do. You can grow and you can change these later, but for right now, for your initial set of reels, what do you want to do? Do you want to talk direct to camera? Do you want to do B-roll and do that voiceover or that text to speech? Do you want to try lip syncing? Do you want to try dancing? These are the things you're going to be practicing. So every single day, I want you to create 2 to 3 reels. Now with these, all you're going to do is create them, draft them, and when we're done, we're going to delete them. Unless they're really good and you really want to put them out after the fact, after the 2 weeks of practice, you can put them out if you want, but most of these are just going to be deleted. So it's okay if you look a little silly, or if your lip sync is a little bit off, or if you stumble over your words a little bit. This is practice. Okay, now that we've got that cleared up, you're now going to actually create these reels. So every single day, I want you to take a chunk of time before work, after work, on your lunch break, whatever. You're going to create these reels. Now remember, reels don't have to be overly complicated. You can make these really, really easy. So if you're speaking direct to camera, here's a little pro tip for you. And I have videos on this, they're in the playlist below. But let's break this down for you. You don't have to talk direct to camera like I've been doing this entire time. See, I have not scripted what I'm saying, I'm just talking directly to you. Now, if that's your personality, go for it. But I highly recommend, if it's not your personality, that you're scripting what you're saying and you're filming it in segments. And when you do that, you're doing one line at a time. And because we're not clipping it up all weird, we want to make sure that it looks intentional. So if you're doing it one line at a time, all you're going to do is set your phone up on a tripod or prop it up against something, and you're going to film one line at a time and slice out the gaps in between these lines. And as you do that, you're going to move your location. So if you're standing direct to camera here and you're delivering your first line, the next thing you're going to be doing is stepping over here so that you're off camera, only half on that camera, and you're delivering the second line. And then maybe you're going to move to the back corner and you're going to be longer away from that camera and you're going to deliver your third line. You're moving locations so that it looks intentional. If you stand still the entire time and then clip it up, that looks like you clipped it up because you didn't know what you're doing. So make sure you're moving locations or moving backgrounds or changing how you look, whatever it happens to be, so that it looks intentional. And if you don't like standing still, you can actually move. You can hand hold your camera and walk. You can do whatever you need to do to mix things up to feel comfortable while doing this and deliver one line at a time so you say exactly what you want to say, the way you want to say it, without the stress of having to memorize the entire thing. Now again, you can talk direct to camera and just spitball it if you know what you're doing, if you know your content really well. Practice. Try both ways. See what works for you. Because I do a combination of both and they work really, really well. Now you want to make sure you're doing 2 to 3 per day. And I don't care if you're talking to camera, I don't care if you're doing B-roll, I don't care if you're lip syncing or you're dancing or you're doing something else. You need to practice. Whatever you want to put out into the world, that's what you're focused on. So if you only want to speak directly to that camera and you don't want to lip sync and you don't want to dance, don't practice that. You can work on that later if you decide to add it in. Focus on what you want to try. Remember, this is your messy stage, so every day for 2 weeks, 2 to 3 videos. They can be terrible. It's okay. Give yourself permission to be bad. They can be amazing, and if they are, congrats, you're doing well. I just want you to practice. But now, once you film those 2 to 3 per day, you're now going to evaluate them. So I want you to sit there and look at them critically, and I want you to point out what you did well and what you did not do well. This is for you. No one else is seeing this. So it's okay to get critical about this because that's going to help you to get better. So today, when you film your 2 to 3, I want you to look at them. What do you do that you don't like? Do you constantly brush your hair back? Are you blinking a lot? Or are you stumbling over your words? Are you not so good at cutting things up together if you are doing line by line? Learn what you don't like and what doesn't translate well. And then tomorrow when you film your new videos, make that one thing better. You will improve over the 2 weeks because you're doing multiple per day where you're just trying things out. And I want you to use different scripts and different things and different topics because if you use the exact same thing, you're only going to get really good at that exact same thing. So mix it up as you're creating your 2 to 3 every single day. And hey, if you stumble on a gemstone that's just so well done, just save it. And at the end of the 2 weeks, you can post that. And if they're not great, you're going to delete them. It's okay, no one's going to see them. Now, if you need an extra layer of security with this and reassurance with this, you can take the ones that you have created and you can either download them if it's just you doing the audio. If there's music involved, you can't because they take the audio away from that. But you can screen record it and send it to your best friend, to your mom, to your sister. I recommend people who understand the world of Instagram and or TikTok. So if your dad doesn't get it, maybe don't send it to dad. He's probably not going to be the best judge of if this is good or not. Send it to somebody who gets it. And ask for their feedback. Ask for advice on what you can improve. Don't take it personally. They're helping you. You've asked for this. So if you're somebody whose feelings get hurt, just preface it by saying how you want them to give you feedback. Be very clear on how you're going to get that. And then fix it. Once you fix it, show them that you fixed stuff and see how you've improved. I recommend doing this for live streaming. I recommend doing this for video content creation. I recommend anytime you're going to be putting yourself out there in a capacity that you're a little bit nervous about, to practice first for 2 weeks, evaluate what you've done, fix it, and then start putting content out. Here's the key. When you put content out, you're going to grow. You're going to learn what works with the algorithm, what people like. You're going to see their feedback, their comments, how they're engaging, if they're sharing, if they're going to be doing things to interact with your content. You're going to learn what they like because what you think they like might not actually be what they like. So practice the skills side of it so that you feel more confident on camera and what you're doing and how you're doing it, and then evaluate what you need to do, put that content out there, and pivot with how people respond to it. So just because you think you nailed it at the end of the 2 weeks and you put things out there doesn't mean it's going to all of a sudden go viral. You've practiced. You've helped your own peace of mind and your sanity. You now know what to do, the buttons to hit. You've gotten into the flow of it because you've done multiple per day and you're good to go. At the end of the 2 weeks, I do not want you creating 2 to 3 videos per day if that's not going to feel comfortable for you. You can do 2 to 3 per week. Remember, we're just practicing. We're just getting you in the right mode for this. So practice hard for 2 weeks, then set up your schedule after the fact and pivot as you need to. You're gonna learn, you're gonna grow. My early videos, my early TikToks, my early Reels, my early YouTubes, they were terrible compared to what I do now because I learned and I grew as I went. And I honed my process. I did really well in the beginning for my Reels and my TikToks, but I've changed and learned how to make them tighter and faster and stronger and better. And now I look back on my content, which was good then, and I realize, oh, I could do things a little bit differently. I could actually go in and edit them and make them a little bit more to my standard now. You're going to grow as you go. So this comes down to you feeling a little bit better and practicing for 2 weeks. So this is your permission. Practice, Be bad, learn what you like and what you don't like, figure out what's gonna work for you, and then in 2 weeks you're gonna start posting. And you're gonna start with fresh content unless you had an absolute gemstone with what you have created during your practice. You're gonna start with brand new content and you're gonna do it better and stronger and more magnificently because now you are better at what you've done because you practiced. If this helps you, if this is helpful for you, let me know in the comments below. I don't always jump into content creation help like this where I'm helping you to ease into it, but if this is something you like, tell me in the comments and I'll make more of these for the other types of social media. From your photos to your videos to your short form content to your long form content, I'm here to help you grow. You just have to let me know that this is something you want more of. So let me know in the comments below. New videos every single day on tutorials on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, live streaming, and technology that will help you with your social media, as well as breaking news in all of the social platforms that you don't want to miss out on. And a live stream every single Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern where I answer your questions in real time, so you don't even have to wait for me to respond to your comments or to create a video to explain the answer for your questions in my comments. So get in my comments, let me know what questions you have. I'll see you for the live streams and the daily videos, plus the breaking news here on the channel.